Hello everyone, my name is Arundhati. I'm from Bangalore, India, and I'm participating in the Gaza Monologues. These are monologues that were gathered from young people in 2010 by Ashtar Theatre, Palestine, and on the 29th of November 2023, in 18 languages across the world, we are reading these monologues in solidarity and support for the people of Palestine. The first monologue I will read. Ahmed Taha, born 1996, Al-Daraj. All my life I thought Gaza was the biggest and most beautiful city in the world. But once I went with my dad to Jaffna and came back with my head spinning. After that, I felt that Gaza was the size of a needle hole and wasn't beautiful, and it keeps getting smaller and worse. No one can breathe, and on top of it, we are not allowed to travel. Every time I walk the streets of Gaza, I suffocate. Jaffa's picture won't leave my mind. I ask myself, where are we? We are so far from the rest of the world. That's why I'm always at the sea, because I feel it's not from Gaza. I keep writing my name on the sand, and the waves come and erase it. Before the war, I wanted to be an electronics engineer. But since the war, I hate going to school. I feel I won't be anything important in my life. And even if I will, so what? It's all the same in the city. Am I going to be the prettiest flower on a garbage heap? When the bombing began, all the schools in Gaza went home, except us. The principal wouldn't let us leave. The kids freaked out, and in the second they went out to the schoolyard. The weird thing is that I'm in the Zaitunush school, the one near the Ministry of Passports, which got hit first. With the first hit, a piece of rocket flew into the biggest tree in the school and sliced it in two like a sugarcane. As soon as we saw that, no one stayed in school. Students, teachers, or the principal. We fled for our lives. I thought the only martyr I would see in the war is the tree. But as soon as I got home, there were 4 martyrs in our street, as though waiting for me to say goodbye to them. When I was done with that, 3 more martyrs from the same family in our street arrived. As soon as we buried them and returned, our neighbor's house, 2 houses down the street, was bombed by the army, and the house was wiped off the ground. Everyone died. I felt most sad for the little girls. I felt the war was targeting me alone out of all the people in Gaza. All day, I'd been seeing martyrs. In the Shifa hospital, I saw a sight that I will never forget. Hundreds of corpses, one on top of the other, their flesh, their blood, and their bones, all melting on each other. You wouldn't know the woman from the man or even the child. Piles of flesh on the beds, and lots of people screaming and crying, not knowing where their kids are, their men or their women. That night, I came home from hospital and I was awake till morning from fear. I thought it would only be that night that I couldn't sleep. But till today, I see them in front of me. And I can't sleep. The next monologue is from Ashraf Sosi, born 1994, Al-Wehda Street. All the neighborhood kids loved him. He was calmer than a breeze. He would take his pocket money from my father and give it to me. Everyone loved him. His friends came and he went with them to school. They went out running like butterflies, flying off the ground, like the world was created for them. The Israeli planes were in the air. The sound of the helicopter was like a monster waiting to pounce on its prey. A car of unwanted men was driving along Yarmouk Street. A car of wanted men was driving along Yarmouk Street, and the butterflies were near the car. The butterflies didn't know that this car would be the fire that would burn them. A rocket fell on the car. My brother Tariq flew 5 meters off the ground. He flew higher than the car, then came down walking. Nothing was the matter with him. The ambulance came and took the corpses. People told him to get into the ambulance, but he told them, nothing is the matter with me, and he kept going to school. 100 meters later, he put his hand on his heart and fell down a martyr. I was in the street waiting for the school bus, and my sister told me to go see what's going on. I did, but I didn't see Tarek, and I went on to school. While I was in class, my uncles came and told me, you will take 3 days off school. I didn't suspect anything. We got in the car. My uncle told the driver to turn off the news. Then I started getting suspicious because my uncle loved the news. We got home and there was a big crowd of people around. Before I went down, I saw my father sitting on the chair crying. It was the first time I saw my father cry, and he was holding the picture of my brother Tarek. I asked him, Dad, was my brother martyred? He said, God have mercy on his soul. The ambulance brought him from the hospital. We all ran to him to say goodbye. He was sleeping like an angel with the book that he'd been carrying still in his hands. My father refused to let us go with him to the cemetery, but I got in the car and went and said goodbye to him and read the Fatiha prayer on his grave. I kept going for 3 months every day to sit at his grave and talk to him. At night, I stare at his picture in the room with the hero, martyr, Tarek, written on it. Since my brother was martyred, I got used to sleeping in the bed alone. We used to sleep one on top of the other, legs on top of heads. Sometimes it felt like all our limbs were jumbled together. But today, I have a bed by myself. I'll never forget my brother. These monologues are being read in support and in solidarity with all the people in Palestine. Shukriya.